taking you through this module on BIM fundamentals, and it is titled as Building Information Modeling in Architecture, Engineering, Construction, and Operation Industry. So the agenda is as listed. In the session, we'll go through the conceptual part of understanding the fundamentals and the underlying principles which governs BIM as a process and a technology in the eco industry. So it is structured in 4 parts. First, we'll go through the introduction to BIM in terms of fundamentals and principles, as I said before, levels, dimensions, and LOD, and then the significance and the benefits, and what distinguishes BIM from the conventional process that is being carried out currently in the industry. And next is about the adoption, growth, evolution of BIM in India and as well as other countries. And after that, we'll get into BIM as a process and how it is being applied and utilized on different projects all throughout the entire project cycle. And also we'll do a quick recap on how it is utilized in different software platforms and what are the widely used softwares. And at last, we'll go through 2 examples, which is more of an emerging trend to the BIM processes. So getting into BIM in terms of definition and characteristics, this slide is a holistic explanation of what BIM is and what it is not. BIM stands for Building Information Modeling, whereas the M can be modeling, model, or management. B over here can represent anything that is in the built environment. Built environment is a compilation of man-made features or a facility or anything that is there, which is a man-made or a constructed environment, which is artificially constructed. And information here can be of 3 parts. One is the graphical data, and second is the non-graphical data, and third is the documentation. So this information is what distinguishes BIM from other conventional processes. For example, if we take the graphical data, the name itself is self-explanatory, but to distinguish all 3 kinds of information that is present in the building information modeling, if we see, for example, if we take a cube, we have the shape and size. So what I've drawn is a vector line drawing, which we assume as a cube. And we can, for example, we can add another information that can be the finish. The top has a different finish. And if, for example, if I draw another cube nearby, we state the spatial interrelationship between those 2 objects. So this is what a graphical data can mean. It explains the spatial relationships, geometric information, visual representation, and other kinds of information. So this graphical information can be there in any 3D BIM modeling or a visualization software. And when we go to the second thing, that is non-graphical data, this is what making BIM revolutionary, meaning this facilitates BIM to be a data-rich environment by adding or editing parametric information, and which exactly makes the model to be a digital representation of a physical object. So by the meaning of parametric information being attached to a model, it can be anything like cost, time, or manufacturer, or the warranty information, or even the thermal conductance or thermal transmittance value of a particular object. And third comes the documentation part. So these 1 and 2 are the set of informations that are attached inside the model environment, which can either be directly or indirectly dependent on the third part, which is documentation. Here, generally, even when we consider a construction project, we can have large sets of information such as schedules, estimates, um, and any other shop drawings or any other field deliverables, which aids the process of construction. So here, when we consider BIM as a process, they have a centralized storage and data flows in a common data environment. And this common data environment facilitates the collaborative workflow. And Autodesk 360 is one example of such a cloud platform. So now we sum up what the idea of what building information modeling is. So building information modeling is a verb, model is a noun, and management is the process that we follow. To distinguish what BIM is and what it is not, if you see any model that only has the graphical information and not the other two, it's not a BIM process. That's just a 3D model and not a 3D BIM model. And hope we have got the clear idea of what BIM is. And moving on to the next slide, we have the uses and significance and why should we adopt BIM. So BIM has several dimensions and uses, but it is always employed in a way that is practical and beneficial to the particular project. We need not necessarily employ BIM across different scopes or across different phases in a particular project. We can employ it wherever necessary and as per the project needs. So it can be used for design, estimating, scheduling, coordination, or as-built verification, or documentation and facility management. And the next most important terminology while being in the BIM industry is BIM execution plan and employers information requirements. These are two elements which actually defines how are we going to employ BIM in a particular project and what is the expected outcome of using BIM. So these are a few of the benefits are being outlined below that. We can actually, by employing BIM, we can identify design conflicts early in the project. The efficiency and the productivity will improve. We have an increased predictability of the project delivery, and we can coordinate better with all disciplines and between all stakeholders. The communication between the team increases, and everyone has the ease of access to information, and we will have a better control on time, cost, and quality. So this distinguishes the conventional process versus BIM. So, so there's currently in the industry, there's a shift from these paper and pen-based workflow towards a digitalized workflow. We have not completely entered a workflow which is fully digitalized, but then there's a slight shift towards the digitalized workflow. In the conventional practices, what we usually do is we have a pen and paper based workflow. We only refer to drawings, and only for visualizations, we refer to 3D models. Apart from that, everything is documented on paper, and even the other documentation part is done on a pen and paper based workflow only. When we see BIM, it's more or less inclined towards a digitalized workflow. All the data and the information related to the project is on the CDE, a common cloud platform. And second thing is the linear process. This process refers to the information flow. For example, if you take an architect to an engineer to a project manager, the information flows from one end to the another end. So the information flow is linear. One person gives his detail to the other person, and the other person gives his or her detail to the next person on the line. And here, in the cyclic process, because the process is collaborative, all of them reach out to the common point to access his own information. Yeah, actually the second point somehow elaborates all the other points in the bottom as well. So because of this information, this kind of information workflow, the process is centralized in BIM and it's decentralized in the conventional process. And in the conventional process, we only use people plus processes, wherein in a BIM based workflow, we have people plus process plus we are utilizing the technology. Yeah, and then one important thing about BIM is earlier we saw we can employ BIM uh, to the specific project scope and also as per our needs. So level of development is what that helps us in attaining that. Next to the dimensions, BIM has several dimensions and being spanning from 2D to 7D. So 2D is just an X and Y vector line drawing, and 3D model is X, Y, and Z, and 4D has the time parameter included. Fifth dimension has the cost parameter included, and sixth dimension has the life cycle assessment, sustainability assessments, and 7D has the facility management and operation related dimensions. So if, for example, if we take a project, if we are going to use BIM only for time and cost, we can define that so that we get the appropriate benefits on what we expect by utilizing BIM as a process. And this talks about the different levels of maturity in BIM. So as we saw earlier, 2D belongs to this level. And currently, and there are different levels in increasing precedence as this: level 0, level 1, level 2, and level 3. Currently, the industry is towards a shift from level 1 to level 2. Most of the firms are using 2D plus 3D, but may or may not be in a collaborative platform. Level 2 is what the actual BIM, the actual qualitative BIM practices are included in. And level 3 is still in progress. It's not actually applied in most of the firms in the industry as of now. So BIM as a BIM processes in level 2 will have a collaborative workflow using a cloud platform, and which has the third, fourth, or fifth dimension to the minimum. Yeah, we saw this even before BIM, like the level of development or the detail, LOD. So we see an image which says the same element travels from LOD 100 to LOD 500, and below that image we see the different phases of the project: pre-design, schematic design to as-built, and even below that there are different domains that are included in the building industry. So for example, if I am a fabricator and I'm going to fabricate this particular beam, and for that I will need a BIM model which is of the LOD 350 to 400. LOD actually refers to the level of detail, and level of development refers to the process, whereas level of detail refers to the amount of information that is associated with that level. So, and for example, if I am a visualizer, I want to visualize a particular building, the level, LOD level that I would require will be between 100 to 200, or even more than, a little more than that, 250 to 300. For instance, if I'm designing a I'm designing a building and I'm detailing it out in a more than required way. For example, for a schematic design to design development phase, if I'm designing a building of LOD 400, that goes into waste and it is giving me more than required value, which is not actually expected. And in the reverse case, if I'm in the fabrication side and I want a model which is of LOD 350 to 400, and I'm only having a model which is of LOD 300, it doesn't give the required information to the fabricator to do his work. So this is a crucial step in identifying how the process has to be utilized and to deliver the value that is expected at that particular project phase. And as you see here, from the pre-design phase to the as-built phase, the model detail increases.